If you had watched Donald Trump for the last 3 weeks since he's been inaugurated, you would certainly see he's doing a lot of the policies, pursuing a lot of the policies he had promised during the campaign to pursue. But you would also be forgiven for wondering whether a major part of Donald Trump's campaign was not only to make America great again, but to make Israel great again. In fact, one of the reasons you might wonder that is because Trump actually said exactly that during a speech he delivered where he was overseen by Miriam Edelstein, on whom we did an entire show prior to the election, the Israeli billionaire who has donated massive amounts to Donald Trump's campaign, who, according to Trump, played a critical role in his Mideast policy during his first term. And he said, we want to make America great again, and we also want to make Israel great again. And a lot of Trump's attention in the first 3 weeks in office has been devoted not to the workers of Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and the rest of the region that had played such a critical role in voting for him, but on plans to ethnically cleanse Gaza of all of the Palestinians there and turn it into a vision that people like Jared Kushner, his pro-Israel son-in-law, and other people in Israel have long held, which was essentially to get out the Palestinians and then rebuild it from the rubble that Israel, with the help of the United States, produced over the last 15 months. Trump met today with Jordan's King Abdullah, who is a monarch, who is a dictator in Jordan. He depends upon U.S. largesse. We pay these Gulf state tyrants in places like Egypt and Jordan billions of dollars a year because they do our bidding and Israel's bidding. Same thing in the region. And the meeting obviously focused in part on Trump's plan to move the 1.8 million Palestinians out of Gaza because he wants to put a lot of them in places like Egypt and Jordan, notwithstanding how many times those countries have said they have no intention of taking them. Although, of course, they can't really be that blunt about it with Trump because they do, in fact, depend upon the United States and the billions of dollars they get every year to carry out the bidding of the United States. So that's part of what Trump has been saying whenever he's been asked, well, your plan to cleanse Gaza of Palestinians depends upon Egypt and Jordan taking huge numbers of them, and yet they keep saying that they won't. And he keeps saying, Trump does, oh, they may say they won't, but they will. We give them huge amounts of money, and if they want that money to continue, they're going to have to cooperate with our plan. So here is Jordan King Abdullah today at the White House, as reported by NPR. You see the photo there of the two of them sitting in the Oval Office with the headline, Jordan King Abdullah heads to the White House as Trump pushes a Gaza takeover plan. By the way, you may note that Doge, the Elon Musk run program to rid the government of unnecessary spending, has spent a lot of time on programs that the right dislikes, but the massive amounts of spending on wars, on militarism, on the Pentagon thus far remain untouched. And people like Steve Bannon have correctly pointed out that if you actually want to have real cutting of waste and graft and all kinds of excessive spending, you have to, as Bannon put it, cross the Potomac and go to the Pentagon. And thus far, that has not happened, to say nothing of the billions of dollars we give to these countries in the Middle East to serve our agenda of protecting Israel. From NPR, quote, President Trump set the stage for a fraught face-to-face meeting with a plan he announced last week to relocate some 2 million Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Jordan and Egypt. Both countries have said they strongly oppose the plan, which Israel's leadership has embraced. Trump went further on Monday. He said he would, quote, conceivably withhold aid from Jordan and Egypt if they did not agree to take Gaza's 2 million Palestinians. Quote, Jordan signed a peace treaty with Israel precisely because they did not want a solution at Jordan's expense, said former Jordanian Foreign Minister Marwan Mouashar. This is an existential issue to Jordan that does not lend itself to any economic pressure from the United States, said Mouashar, now Vice President of Studies at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He said the break to Trump's plans could be Saudi resistance. Trump has made clear he wants to broker a normalization agreement between Saudi Arabia, the most powerful Gulf state, and Israel. Saudi Arabia last week said expelling Palestinians would stand in the way of any normalization talks. So I think it's really worth thinking about that for a second. The position of the Trump administration in the first term was that the most impressive foreign policy accomplishment that served American interests in the region was the Abraham Accords, which attempted to begin going down that road of normalizing relations between the Israelis on the one hand and the Gulf state dictatorships on the other that are close U.S. allies. And the second Trump administration was supposed to be about the crown jewel of that plan, which is normalizing relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel, forming basically an entire Middle East alliance aligned against Iran and its allies. That, according to the Trump administration, is something crucial to American interest in the Middle East, to stabilize the Middle East, to create a peaceful Middle East so that America can focus on China and other interests that it has around the world. And apparently, thus far, we seem very willing to sacrifice a deal of that kind in order to serve Israel's much more important objective to them of having it annex Gaza and the West Bank by getting rid of all the bothersome, annoying, uppity Arabs who live there, people who refuse to accept the idea that they're supposed to be ruled by Jews in Tel Aviv in a system in which they have no democratic participation, very similar to what apartheid South Africa was. And so apparently, thus far at least, it seems like the Trump administration's priority is serving the Israeli goal rather than the American goal. King Abdullah was very careful when sitting next to Trump and answering questions in the media. He certainly didn't say that Jordan would take the population of Gaza, but he did heap praise on Donald Trump, as world leaders know they have to do or can do in order to get benefits from Trump. But he then went on to Twitter, because he has a big Palestinian population and can't appear, if he wants to maintain stability in his own country, to look as though he's collaborating with Trump on the ethnic cleansing of Gaza to serve Israel. And so he said this, quote, "Today, while at the White House, I reiterated Jordan's firm position against the displacement of Palestinians, Gaza, and the West Bank. This is the unified Arab position. Everyone's priority must be to rebuild Gaza without displacing its people and to deal with the difficult humanitarian situation in the Strip." Trump earlier today at the White House, at that meeting, elaborated on his plans and made manifest how much more extreme than they seem to be, even from the first time that he unveiled it a little bit more than a week ago. Think about what he's saying here in terms of how extensive U.S. involvement would be in this plan.
I really think we're making some very good progress.
Mr. President, you said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually, where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East, and you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza.
So he's saying we're going to own it. We're just going to take it. We're not going to buy it. We're just going to take it, and we're going to do what we want with it. The day earlier, when he was on Fox News, Bret Baier asked him about the plan, which originally seemed to be depicted as, oh, we're going to remove the Palestinians. They're an annoyance to rebuilding. And we're going to rebuild it, and then some of them might be able to come back to the homeland that they are religiously and spiritually and historically connected to. Yesterday, though, Trump seemed to make clear that no, the plan is not for the Palestinians to ever return to Gaza, that they're going to stay in some other place that we create for them. Here's what he said.
We'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2, but we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians
no
have the
big
right
money
to return?
spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them, because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could have it's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. We give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
So the Palestinians, they have no reason to stay in Gaza, no reason to want to come back to Gaza, because Trump's going to build just incredibly beautiful communities for them. Really lovely areas, lovely neighborhoods with schools and mosques, little suburban homes and apartment buildings. They're going to love it there. They're going to be in Egypt. They're going to be in Jordan, probably under extremely heavy security, maybe surrounded by fences, kind of like a camp of some kind, but it's going to be really lovely. They're never going to want to go back to Gaza. They're going to be so happy we're there. They were so happy to leave. And again, I want to ask, so Trump's going to build, or he's going to call in favors to get others to build with him while we take Gaza, all kinds of housing for 2 million Palestinians. What happened to, I'm going to improve the lives of American citizens? The only American citizens whose lives are improved by this are Mary Middleton and Jared Kushner and Bill Ackman, whose lives are already pretty good. This is about everything other than putting America first. King Abdullah was asked about this, as I said, while he was sitting next to Trump, and he pretended to be making some sort of a concession that Trump would interpret, and did seem to interpret, as a first step toward having Jordan agree to Trump's plan. Here's what King Abdullah said they were going to do.
One of the things that we can do right away is take 2,000 children that are either cancer children or in very ill state to Jordan as quickly as possible, and then wait for, I think, the Egyptians to present their plan on how we can work with the president to work on the Gaza challenges.
So your
I want to tell you, excuse me, wait, just please. I didn't know that, what you just said, 2,000 children with cancer or other problems. And that's really a beautiful gesture. That's really good, and we appreciate it.
So you're talking here about a population of 2 million Palestinians, and the Jordanians are saying, yeah, we're willing to take 2,000 very sick Palestinian children in order to treat them in Jordan, 2,000. And Trump, later on as well, and in that clip right there too, seemed to react as though that was some sort of an important concession. Oh, look, they're already taking some of these Palestinians. In fact, the Jordanians have been taking Palestinians who are sick from Gaza and the West Bank and treating them in Jordanian hospitals for a long, long time. Again, because there's a big, big population in Jordan. They're not treated very well. They're repressed. They're kept under all sorts of surveillance. Remember, this is a monarchy, not a democracy. But keeping them placated and calm is extremely important to the stability of Jordan, because imagine if that massive Palestinian population rose up against the U.S.-supported king of Jordan. It could create all kinds of problems. So they do these tiny little symbolic gestures. Oh, we're going to take 2,000 children who are in need of medical care, something they've been doing all along. And it was King Abdullah's way, I guess cleverly, of trying to lead Trump to believe that that was the start of Jordan's willingness to take in the Palestinians that Trump's plan requires them to take in. One country that is not in any way pretending to be hospitable to Trump's plans, in fact, has been very aggressive and very vocal in its hostility toward Trump's plans and toward the Trump administration, all about this, have been the Saudis, arguably the most important American ally in the region geostrategically for U.S. interests. Here's what the Saudi Foreign Ministry said on February 9th. Quote, "The kingdom affirms that the Palestinian people have a right to their land and they are not intruders or immigrants to it who can be expelled whenever the brutal Israeli occupation wishes. The kingdom notes that the proponents of these extremist ideas are the ones who prevented Israel from accepting peace by refusing peaceful coexistence, rejecting the peace initiatives adopted by the Arab countries, and systematically practicing injustice toward the Palestinian people for more than 75 years with disregard to the truth, justice, law, and the values established in the UN Charter, including the human right to live in dignity on his land. The kingdom reiterates that the right of the Palestinian people will remain firmly established, and no one will be able to take it away from them, no matter how long it takes. The kingdom also asserts that lasting peace will not be achieved except by returning to the logic of reason and accepting the principle of peaceful coexistence through the two-state solution. Now, obviously, you can question whether the Saudis really care about the Palestinians, whether the Jordanians really care, the Egyptians really care. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, their survival as a government, the stability of their countries, which they do care about, depends upon not allowing the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. No one in the Middle East is going to stand by and watch Israel and the United States forcibly remove 2 million Palestinians and put them in refugee camps somewhere in the Middle East so that Jared Kushner can take over Gaza and build new developments and casinos and golf courses on the ocean of Gaza. Free speech is under attack, as you well know, and as we've often reported, Rumble refuses to back down. Rumble has always believed in empowering voices, no matter how unpopular, and now we're taking that fight to the next level. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollars, big brands turned their backs. Rumble, though, was not created to please advertisers. Rumble is here to defend free expression and is quite serious about it. Rumble would rather not be available in a country than having to comply with censorship orders, and they've proven that many times. It's not just words. That's because this is a mission to defend free speech, preserve the right of free expression on the internet. To strengthen that mission, Rumble is excited to offer Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. It's more than a subscription, it's a stand for free speech. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium for a limited time. You can get $10 off an annual plan using the promo code Glenn. Visit rumble.com/premium/Glenn and claim your discount today. Together we can turn the tide, but we are turning the tide. Rumble just re-entered Brazil yesterday, as we reported last night, and so whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching, your support for this platform and the programs on it really does help keep free speech on the internet alive. Go to rumble.com/premium/Glenn. Use promo code Glenn to save $10 on your annual subscription. Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.